Finding the square root of any number. To find the square root of any number, it must have one thing, and that is identical factors. So you remember when we were given a number earlier, say it could be number 4. And if we want to find the square root of 4, what we're really saying is what two numbers multiplied together will give you 4, and they must be the same numbers. So if it's 5, then it must be 5 times 5. If it's 3, then it must be 3 times 3 to give you 4. Now in this simple one, you probably could recognize that 2 times 2 will give you 4. But just to show you the process, let's write down 4, and let's go through the factors of 4. It's 1 times 4, and then the only other thing is 2 times 2. So if I were to write this here out on the side here, so really 2 times 2. The identical factors are 2 and 2, but you only write it once. So the answer, if you were to root 4, is going to be 2 times 2 will give you 4. So the root of 4, the answer is 2. Okay? So the root really means what two identical numbers will multiply together, or which two of the same numbers will multiply together to give you this number. Moving on to one that's a little bit harder. What if I said root 9? Well, if I wanted to find out what root of 9 is, I want to know two of the same numbers that multiply together to give me 9. And they got to be the same number. So I'll write down the factors of 9, and we know 1 times 9. And then 2 doesn't work. 3 times 3 works, and then that's the only one that works for 9. So are there two identical ones that multiply together? Sure. 3 times 3 will give you 9. So the answer is, for the square root of 9, is 3. A little bit of a harder one. What if I were to take 64 and I want to know the square root of 64? First thing I do is write down my factors, and I'll change the color. There. So the root of 64, well, I know 1 times 64, so I can put that down here right away. I know 2 will work because it's an even number, so 2 times 32. 3, well, I know 6 and 4 is 10, and 10 can't be divided by 3, so 3 doesn't work. Will 4 work? Well, will anything times 4 give you 64? And the answer is no. So when you work this out, you'll end up getting 8 times 8 will be one of your factors. When you get 8 times 8 will equal 64, so the root of 64 will be 8, because 8 times 8 is 64. So this only works for numbers that have perfect squares. In other words, they'll only work for numbers that you can find two of the same ones to multiply to give it that. Okay, it will not work for a number like 99 because there's nothing you can multiply that's the same number to give you 99. I can go right through it. 1 times 1 will not work. 2 times 2 will not work. 3 times 3 will not work. All the way up to 10 times 10, which is 100, that will not work. So you can go all the way up through, and neither one will give you a perfect square because you can't multiply two of them together to get the number.